things in Descript if that's helpful, and then talk about questions you have, or we could do it in a different order. I'm very flexible.
Caitlin?
Well, I was thinking maybe we should just tell you what we've been doing.
Yeah,
That way you'll know exactly what we've been doing.
great.
Kaylin, did you have the login for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I,
Do you want to sign into it for
yeah, I
us?
have it open already.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if am I able to share screen on here?
You are.
So basically what we've been doing is we've just been kind of like reading it like you would a paper, and then playing it and making sure that it makes sense. And when we see or word fillers, we kind of get rid of them.
Mhm.
And that's been working for us so far, I think.
We deleted like probably half an hour of just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just and repeating. But it's been, I like this app a lot. I don't know if like your other teams are using it, but this is really, really good. Like it makes everything sound so smooth. And we were like removing the and the, as she was saying, the word fillers and stuff. And it sounds so natural. Like you can ask them. I was like, why does this sound so natural? This is not normal. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It sounds
Yeah.
like you've really dove into it. And I know I'm looking really weird here, but otherwise I look this way, okay.
Yeah. If I could just add, yeah, my other two teams just got introduced to it by Sanat during the day shift. And I think the intention is to use it because I do think it can make the collaboration. I don't know what your collaboration about you've gotten rid of things together. Were you using comments to the side? Did you just do it during your synchronous sessions together?
Yeah, that's how
like those are things.
We
Yeah.
did during our session together.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were just going through it and laughing at everything. And just repeating anything.
So maybe Jule can stay as long as you need her, but I think again, like maybe just an aspect, like she said, conceptually how she sees audio editing. And then there is ways to automatically get rid of all the and or program it to, like if somebody uses like a lot, then you could kind of search their likes. So there's tips that she might want to take notes on that she can go through. I think some of those things.
Yeah, I think going through
like
some like basic tips would be beneficial. I do think that we are pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think my thing would be if we delete something, how do we get it back?
Oh, yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing about Descript is they say it's non-destructive editing, which means even if you've deleted something, it's never gone. You can always get it back. So, so we'll talk about how to get it back. And I do want to show you how to have multiple tracks, because especially with a roundtable, the danger is that somebody says, oh yeah, on top of somebody else's talking. And so you can't quite hear who you want to hear. And so you want to cut out one person, but leave the other person. So I think that's worth knowing how to do.
Also, the thing I wanted to know was how to remove all the because we have a lot of
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm gonna head on out for a little bit because I'll get to watch the recap with Michelle, but I'm gonna make sure they're okay. I'll be back. Okay, you're in good hands, and I'm not putting, much like I just put a crazy time pressure on you for the experiment, I'm not putting a crazy time pressure on this for you because you guys chose a different path, and I'd rather you get like the support or you take the time with this. Your round 2 will go so much smoother if you actually just like do that now. So it's worth investing, and I'm giving you the space. Okay, I'll see you back before the end of class. Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, so I think the logical order is how do you get multiple tracks? And then how do you clean it up? And how do you get back something that you cleaned out, but you don't want it gone, you want it back? Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So let's start with the multiple tracks. And I'd like to share my screen. So if I just click share screen, will that,
I think I have to stop sharing mine and then you can go ahead and share yours.
okay? Share screen. And there we go, Descript. Okay. Can you see my Descript topics page?
Yeah, I see it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's say I have a new podcast I want to create. So I just new project, you know how that goes. And this is sample project. And it's me and Tia. We're interviewing each other. So I got to grab her and me and drag us in. And I've named us guest and host just to make it clear. So hold on, create project. Now we can grab it in. Guest and host. Now I want to get rid of this so it's out of the way. It's adding our files, which is nice. And I'm going to talk while it's doing this because, you know, this takes a little bit. But what it's going to say is it's going to go, oh, these two audios are the same length. Do you want to create a sequence? And what they mean by that is, do these two things belong together? And the answer is yes. So when I get that choice, I'll say yes to that. See, okay, lower left-hand corner. Looks like these two files have a similar duration. Combine them into a multi-track sequence? Yes, 2 tracks, 1 track for me, 1 track for Tia. Create sequence. This one says guest, and I just want to call it guest. This is host, that's good. I'm going to do an automatic transcribe. All right, so while that thinks, imagine that you are responsible for a kid and the kid was out playing in the mud and you bring them to get cleaned up and you start working on the mud under their fingernails while the whole rest of their body's dirty. Sometimes I feel like that's how people think about ums. Ums are not the first thing to look at. The first thing to look at is, what's the story we're trying to tell here? What is our, what's the message we want to convey? How do we tell this cleanly? Because at first you want to look big, because there might be sections of your conversation you want to move around. You might say, you know, these two things I want to move them up front. And so you can make those kinds of decisions early on. The process I do is after I upload to Descript, the first thing I do is export a transcript into Word, because I just want to sit down with it, read it through, and I know I'm old school and I don't do it on the screen, but that's how my brain works. A pen in hand, and I mark up, these are the best parts, this is whatever. I want to get clear about what's the stuff I absolutely want to keep. Because when I do my interviews for my podcast, they're usually 60-minute interviews, and I usually cut them down to about 20 minutes. So I'm losing 2/3 of what's there, because people are in a hurry. They don't really care. They want to get to the gist of stuff. So I would say, before you start thinking about ums and things, think about, what's the message of our podcast? What do we want people to walk away from this with? And how do we make that clear to them? Okay. I'm taking off my scarf because I'm too hot. I don't know if I can, usually I just let this go while it's transcribing because I'm too afraid to leave it. I don't know if it can do something else now. Let's do this. You saw how I did it. I'm going to go to one that's already existing so we don't have to keep letting this play, because this will get boring and we'll want to go home, and we can't go home yet because class is still going on. So if we stop this. Okay, I want to go back to Descript. Okay, that's good. Let me share again. Okay. Okay, let's go to this. This is actually the edited conversation of the audio I just uploaded. I edited this earlier. Okay, so what's different about my screen compared to your screen is because I uploaded 2 different conversations, I've got 2 audios. I think it's still uploading it. There it is. It's coming in. See how there's orange text and then there's pink text? Orange is me, pink is Tia. Now, here's stuff that I deleted. The West End neighborhood is just outside of Over the Rhine. There's stuff ahead of this. There's stuff ahead of how would you describe the West End neighborhood. You can tell that because there's those little dashed marks that I know you've seen before. So if I want to go to the West End neighborhood, it's just over the Rhine. If I grab it down here, and I have to get this thing to go in the right direction, but see how I can peel all this stuff out? I'm peeling out stuff that's underneath that I deleted earlier. What I just peeled out was this. So you're in the West End. That's what I undid. But I don't want that. I want that gone. So we just gone it. Now, the other thing is, what if I'm laughing on top of Tia saying something important? If I get my, if you're on I don't know what it is if you're on a Microsoft or whatever PC, but Command Shift O splits the two tracks apart. So up here is me talking to Tia, and then, oh, this is weird. It's not, yeah.
The West End neighborhood is just outside. Sometimes I say it's in the shadow of Over the Rhine because
See there? Okay, but let's get to someplace I cut. Anyway, that's not good. Its zoom is really slowing it down. But when you split it apart like this, you can get rid of one person and keep whatever the other person is saying. So that's the advantage of having multiple tracks. And then when you don't need multiple tracks anymore, you just close that up. All right, now edit. Okay. If you go into, I think this is outside the screen share. I'm going to do it a different way. I want to share my whole desktop. There we go. Okay. You are seeing my whole desktop now, yes? Yeah, okay. So if you go up to edit, remove filler words. See all those ums? I can just click delete and it'll delete them all. There's here's a good section of them. All the yellows, it's highlighted, delete. Apply to all. Huh, there we go. Now they're gone. Which is always fun. All right. So we showed how you get something back. You just go to where the cut is and you peel it out. 60 decades. So there's stuff ahead of this 60 decades. There it is. It's it's other stuff. You can make this waveform larger or smaller. So if I use my track wheel and shrink it up, I can do that. I can make it really big so I can zoom in on the cuts and anything I want to do with leveling. Let's say there's a part in here where I laugh really loudly. I do that a lot. and it's just way too loud. Here's something that's pretty loud. Okay. I want to open that up. Here's the loud part. I want to split the clip. It'll only let you mess with the levels if you tell it exactly where you want it to do it. So this is a split clip, and what I want to do here is auto level the clip, which means make the volume pretty much like the other stuff. And it just did it. It changed the volume. It's a lot more obvious when it's something really loud, like a laugh. Okay. So we did ums, we did multiple tracks, we did how do you get stuff back, and we did the big picture, which is think about the story you're telling and then worry about, I like to think about in terms of, think paragraphs first. Do I have the paragraphs where I want them? Are there certain paragraphs I just want to get rid of? Then I think about sentences. Then I think about ums and likes and filler words. Then I think about spacing between words. For example, in this piece, there is a part. Okay, Control F, find 1,000. Huh. Can you find that? No 1,000? Find is handy when you're trying to get to a certain part of the tape, but I don't know. Let's just say there's a piece. One of the things you want to think about is spacing, how long it takes somebody to say something before they talk again. And you might decide there's a space that's a profound space and you want to, excuse me, keep the whole thing. Like here, when the investment comes like this, I don't know.
It's really low.
Pardon?
I said it's really low. I don't know if the audio, if you were shared the audio when you shared, or if it's just hearing it from your computer.
Oh, I
If you were
bet that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
like if you, I don't know if you could, if you
If I
stop
can-
sharing, you could then click the little box at the bottom that says share audio. It might be easier. I don't know if that's been a problem.
I have well, anyway, we haven't been doing much with the audio. I just wanted to say that sometimes you can just shrink up the spaces. So it's not, you don't have a long space between one thing being said and then something else being said. You can just slide that over and shrink it up.
That was what sliding the tab you were explaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. But we covered thinking about things in terms of paragraphs, sentences, words, filler words, editing your way down, how to get back something you've deleted, multiple tracks. This was the how do you get to both tracks? You can just do Command-Shift-O and it'll open up both tracks. Because this is Tia saying, yeah, well, maybe I don't want her yeah right there. That way I can get rid of her yeah, but have what's happening up here.
Yeah. Do you want it to share that screen again or no? You aren't going to be sharing much audio, you were saying.
Oh,
I just stepped right in. You stop sharing so that you could reshare the screen if you want, because then there's like little boxes at the bottom that say share it with audio, and then we can hear what you're hearing. Otherwise, it is really low.
yeah. So I don't see a little box. I see share screen. Oh, I see share sound.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because I definitely think the editing with tracks is going to be like really a good idea like next time, just to make sure.
Now you're seeing my big Zoom logo. Yes. Okay. So you go back to Descript. Okay. Oh, this will work better. Thanks, Nicole, for letting me know I didn't have the audio in a way that people could hear it. So this. Go away. Okay. We were talking about how do you get the two clips, and this is both of us talking, fully resourced, and
Like
the other
David,
is not.
like David and Goliath.
Yeah,
Almost.
exactly.
I'm-
So she's talking about David and Goliath and whatever. So I can just open that up and I can see there's the David and Goliath part. And I'm just going to cut out that because I can decide I don't really like that. We just want to end with heavily resourced and the other's not. We'll just stop there. And you get rid of that. And then this is some mouth noise. I might as well just take out while I'm there. That's how the two tracks work. And then you can just close it up.
All right.
Close. Yeah.
That's definitely helpful to know how to do, because I feel like that happens a lot between us.
It usually does when you've got more than one person talking at a time. So
Yeah.
it's nice to know that sometimes you want to have that. You want to hear two people laughing at the same time, but sometimes the one person, whatever they're saying, is interfering with hearing the other person, and you just handle it that way. Here's an example of some where I was talking about leveling before. Like this is what's happening here. What's being
hey,
David won.
But the thing about it,
Okay, so this we'll just pretend this is for leveling. So if I want to split the clip, if this was just a really loud bit of laughter,
You right click.
I'm right clicking
Mhm.
to split the clip. And then once I have the clip, oh, this is so weird. It's like it's got a delay with Zoom, I think. Anyway, then I right click again in the clip and I say auto level the clip, and it will adjust the level just of that clip. And you saw that it just shrunk it down. So if I did an undo, you could see that's what it was. And if I do a redo, it shrinks it down.
And that's if somebody just really goes so loud that it's almost distracting or something, right?
When it happens for me is the guest says something that makes me laugh, and I laugh really loud, and it's quite annoying. so it has to come down.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. So those are the main things. I definitely like the, filler words. That's probably a really good one. You can also have it look for gaps in sound, and it can tighten up sound gaps. So anyway.
Cool.
Yep.
Did you guys have any other questions?
No,
I feel like
I think
those
we're
were
good. But everything she said was very helpful. I think my favorite thing, I texted it to the group because just in case I forget, was the what was it? The Command Shift O of
Mm.
the separate tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to look at this later, obviously.
Yeah. Just Command Shift O pops it open, and then you click on the X to close it down.
And did you show how to pull these two in to not
Yeah.
do what I did?
Yeah, I did, but I stopped because it was taking
Yeah.
a while. But yes, all you do is you pull them together, you pull them in, and you create a new project, create my project, and then I get my clips ready. I drag them in. It's looking at them now. And then it'll ask me, it pops up in the lower left. Wow.
Yeah.
Taken a long time. But anyway, it'll say, what it says is,
Fun.
these are the same length. Do you want them to create a multi-track sequence? And you just
Okay.
click, yes, I want multi-track sequence.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I think that's it.
Okay.
Well,
And
thank you for your help. We'll definitely be using those tools because
That's cool.
we say a lot, and when we mess up, we always do like long periods of silence to
Yeah.
compose ourselves.
And that's a great thing to do. I mean, you can take a long period of silence and just let the recording record, because it's really easy to get rid of that later.
Yeah.
You know, like I showed you, just grab that tab and slide it over, or else highlight it and hit delete, get the silence out of there. But Nicole, here's the multi-track detected. Do you want a
Yeah.
sequence? So you go, yeah, create a sequence. Do
Got
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that the conversation, I don't know if you've done anything or even listened to more people who might have done like co-hosts and whatever, because I just, I think it can feel more like a natural conversation instead of like we're presenting content. Do you know what I mean? Like I know that they were struggling with like, how did you do this thing? So I think they did a good job, even though, because they called it like a practice run afterwards, just because there were a lot of these like moments throughout it, but that's the benefit of like, they just kept going through, and now they're finding that there are actually really good moments they can pull out of there and just make, something about that.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah. And so
And I
because
I was going to say, I don't think we realized how easy it was going to be to edit it as well.
Yeah.
Because we did have a lot of mess ups,
Mhm.
but we definitely had good bits in there.
Yeah. And it's always better just to stop talking and figure out where you're going to go than to just ramble and try to figure it out because that's harder to cut. Cutting out silence is easier.
Mm.
Yeah. And then when you record, are you on Zoom so you're seeing each other?
No, we haven't added our video.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because it can be helpful. You can signal when, like, if somebody's talking and somebody has an idea and they want to comment on that, they could just like raise their hand or whatever, give a signal that, I want to talk next. So that's a way
true.
that you can communicate with one another non-verbally.
Yeah, that's true. We honestly, I have to say we're pretty good at not really interrupting each other though, because we said that if we do have something to say, we'll wait a couple seconds and then we'll respond. That way we don't talk over each other.
That's smart.
Um, So I mean, we have run into it a couple times, but not too many. And if we do that, then we like pause to kind of like recompose, and then we talk or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been working out, but that is a really good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Well, it's an ambitious project to do a podcast with multiple people, and I think it's exciting. I find it interesting to listen to several hosts because they have different perspectives. Even different voices are interesting.
Yeah, it definitely adds something to it that makes it more personal for sure.
Yeah.
And intriguing to listen to. I mean, it's almost like listening to a story, I think.
Yeah, that's when you're telling a story.
Yeah.
It's a educational story, but you're telling a story.
Yeah, and I think that it makes it more relatable to others. So
Yep.
Yeah. So we can leave your teams alone. Actually, you want to go back to your room inside of let me stop the recording for